Today we'll see post-antibiotic effect. Now what is meant by this post-antibiotic effect? After a brief exposure, if the organism is placed in the antibiotic free medium, it will again start to multiply but after a lag period which depend on the antibiotic as well as the organism. Now what is meant by lag period? It's a time required for the reattainment of the logarithmic growth. What is meant by post antibiotic effect? After a brief exposure, the brief exposure with the drug, the organism is placed in antibiotic free medium. There is no antibiotic. We have placed in an antibiotic free medium. Again that microorganism will start to replicate or multiply, but after a lag period, and that lag period will depend upon the antibiotic as well as the microorganism. Now what is meant by lag period? Lag period is the time required for the reattainment of the growth. Now what is meant by post antibiotic effect? Post antibiotic effect means persistent of the antibiotic effect observed long after the serum concentration has fallen below the MIC. What is meant by post antibiotic effect? Persistence of the antibiotic effect observed long after the serum concentration has fallen below MIC, means though the plasma concentration of a drug or serum concentration of a drug fallen below the minimum inhibitory concentration, but still it will show its effect, it will show its efficacy, it will become effective even after the plasma concentration has fallen below the MIC, has fallen below the minimum inhibitory concentration, and that is called as the post antibiotic effect. Means generally what happens, the drug is effective only when the plasma concentration of drug is above the minimum inhibitory concentration. That normally happens. But in case of some antibiotics, persistence of antibiotic effect is seen. That effect will remain there even after the plasma concentration fallen below the minimum inhibitory concentration. Long dose dependent post antibiotic effect is seen with the fluoroquinolones like ciprofloxacin, moxifloxacin, levofloxacin, carbapenems, aminoglycosides like gentamicin, septomycin, rifampicin, which is the antitubercular drug. All these drugs shows post antibiotic effect. Though the plasma concentration has fallen below the MIC, but still they show its effect, and that is called as post antibiotic effect. Now what is the reason for that? Presence of the drug in the periplasmic space, or at a binding site, these are the reasons for the post antibiotic effect. Now here you can see where is the periplasmic space in case of gram negative or in case of gram positive. Here you can see the periplasmic space. Here, this is the periplasmic space. So there is a deposition of a drug in the periplasmic space or deposition of a drug at a binding site. These are the responsible mechanism for the post antibiotic effect. And the drug which shows post antibiotic effects are the fluoroquinolones, carbapenems, aminoglycosides, rifampicins.